Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 19th hole as I'm trying to retweet the show here. And there we go. I'm done. Perfect.
I already did that. How did that take you so long, Nate?
Well, because I was dropping it in chats and all sorts of things, shared it all over.
I was just grooving, like I was retweeting to the beat. I was dialed.
Well, of course you are, because you're so smooth, Bo. You're so smooth.
It's got the new background, new hat.
I love that background.
It's actually, I'm really glad that the light in here doesn't show all the sweat stains from all the rounds I've played in this hat, because it's a white hat.
We can see it.
Oh, good. I want it to look weathered and yellowish from all the sweat that's dripped into my eyes during rounds with this hat, because it doesn't breathe very well.
Does all that hard work. Cash on the course? Are you winning cash on the course?
I usually take cash. I take feelings. I take flour in the pocket. I'll pretty much bet anything. I'm kind of like Michael Jordan with a lower winning percentage, but I'm all about that action. Like I want to compete for something, even if I just met the person. Like I like to go on as a single and like latch on with a pair or another single, and just be like get inside their head the first couple holes and be like, hey, you want to put a couple bucks on each hole? And if they're game, I'm game.
I'm always game. When I'm playing with someone that I know is worse than me, I am always game. So probably not with you, Bo. I'm probably not betting anything, because I'm pretty sure you're a better golfer than I am. And Connor, both of you.
No, the first couple holes, I'll get inside their head with a couple double bogeys and let them know that I'm no threat whatsoever. And then the 300 yard, then the 300 yard drives come out. Little sandbagging
son of a bitch.
Same thing at the billiard hall. So,
oh, dude, I'm terrible at pool. I could never shark that. Well, so we're here not to talk about our personal crappy golf games and not about pool. We are here to talk about golf and whiskey. And I am here with my wonderful friends, the one and only Connor Coughlin at CoughDFS on Twitter. You can find him here every week, and he has a column dropping every other week during the golf season. And then we're going to see what's going to be happening with DFS NFL come this season with you. How are you doing tonight, man?
Doing good, man. Busy. Just getting ready to tie the knot this weekend. So got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Game over.
No, I fully outkicked my coverage, so this is a win for me.
It's awesome.
Outstanding.
Congratulations.
Nate did too. I did too. Nate did too. It's a good feeling to know that somebody settled for you.
Oh, I like to think I tricked Jen.
Hey, thanks, Jen.
Yeah, Christina thought she trapped me, because when we first met, I was working my way through college at Costco. I was making way more money than any other college students, because Costco pays well. And then she became some crazy business whiz, and I'm still at Costco earning good money, but I mean, yeah, I definitely got the better end of that bargain. Sorry, honey.
Oh my God, this is actually true.
So
when we were like very first date,
who was right?
Well, dude, we've been married 12 years now, so I mean, I'd say that I was probably the one who was right.
I don't remember saying that. I'm sure I did say it, but I don't remember it.
It was actually that you told her not to date me, because I wore the same clothes for our first 3 dates, and there were 3 nights consecutively. I'm pretty sure I stunk, and she was like, "What is this guy? What is going on?"
It's the allure.
That's right. It's my natural scent. It's me in nature.
Yeah, 60% of the time it works every time.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I'm not gonna lie, Nate. That smells like pure gasoline.
It's made from real panther bits.
Oh man. So we also have with us tonight the one, the only.
I probably was.
Yeah, you probably were. The one and only, the hot sauce man himself. If you haven't tried Hot Box, we just got the big time bundle in. That Amigo seasoning.
It's crazy, right?
It is amazing. It is incredible. Yeah, Bo, how are you tonight, man?
I'm fantastic. I'm off work. I have a lovely new backdrop, which is not my actual home bar. That would be the home bar of dreams, but a nice Google image search provided me with this green screen image. And everything's great. I got beef stew here. I got some whiskey poured. I got nothing to do tonight except go get some groceries after the show. So everything's great.
Awesome. So this week we have it's a FedEx Cup tournament. Yeah. It is the BMW Championship at the Caves Valley Golf Club in Baltimore County, Maryland. That's our DFS slate. And our whiskey slate's a little different. We're kind of going with what we went with last week. We all have something a little bit different. In my case, it's a lot different because Jameson is bad for my brain. But we've got Bo drinking the Jameson Black Barrel tonight. And then
that's a crisp looking graphic, man. That looks good.
Yeah, as always, at Third Short on Twitter. We call him Short affectionately because he's awesome.
That contrast on the red. Ooh,
it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So, yeah, and then Conor is drinking the Blender's Dog, Jameson. I have never heard of it. I thought it was a horrible grammatical mistake in our show chat. I was very curious. It's like, I don't know what he's trying. Is he trying to say Black Barrel too? And he's just like so busy. But now I know it's something that's real. So
yeah, same thing. Blenders and the dogs, and throw the dogs in the blender and you get Jameson.
Perfect.
Barrels and black barrels.
And you're talking an Irish accent, so it sounds even better when you're talking an Irish accent.
The rest of the show, you're stuck in that accent.
Oh, I can totally do it. Don't tempt me.
All right, guys. So let's talk about what we're drinking. Please, dude, if you want to do it, Bo, you can do it. We're okay with it. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's entrancing. It's almost like ASMR.
No, it's not, because I have lots of Irish friends that might be watching, and they'll be like, I taught him some of those terms and he didn't use them right. I think I got the accent down, but I tried to slip too much Irish slang in there and it wouldn't work.
Gotcha. Well, maybe we'll work on the slang. We'll get you with an Irish accent in the future. Maybe next year for the British Open. We'll work on it. That gives you almost a year. So There you go. So Conor, what are you're drinking the Blender's Dog? Talk about it. Tell us about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, so Blender's Dog is part of a kind of an older series that the Jameson did, where they kind of had these, I guess for lack of a better way to put it, kind of like distillers picks, right? So there was a series of 3 of them, and Blender's Dog just happens to be my favorite out of the bunch. I think some of the differences maybe with it a little bit, you get it's aged in ex-bourbon and ex-sherry casks. You get a little more sweetness. To me, it actually looks a little like lighter in color. Like if you hold this thing up against like the entire Jameson line, this one's pretty pale in comparison. But as far as comparing it to like your normal Jameson, which everybody's super familiar with, this guy drinks, I would argue, a little more like an American whiskey or bourbon would. You get a lot more sweet notes, a lot more like that vanilla, toffee, those types of notes. And then the really cool thing, and I think one of the reasons that I've like kind of stuck behind this one as being my favorite, is you get a lot of like tropical fruit, like which you don't always get in a lot of whiskeys. And so it's got like this just really cool, like bright kind of finish to it. And it hits and it's gone, which is actually not usually something I like, but this is just such a clean whiskey that I keep going back to it. And I've had this bottle on the back shelf behind me probably ever since I've been drinking whiskey. I just, anytime I see a bottle of it, I grab it. Now, I will say we're breaking our mold a little bit, because this guy is way higher end. This is going to be about a $70 bottle if you can still find it anywhere. So a little higher end, but it's my wedding week, so I'm getting a little crazy.
So worth it.
And it's the FedEx Cup.
Yeah.
So
playoffs.
Yeah. So that's it in a nutshell. I mean, again, we won't drone on about Jameson. Everybody knows Jameson. Everybody knows, big Irish whiskey. So these guys that we're drinking tonight are just little variants on your Jameson. But if you're like Nate and you don't like normal Jameson, these would be things to try.
Awesome.
Exactly.
So Bo, you've got the Black Barrel. That one I was convinced you were properly typing.
Yeah. Black Barrel. It's kind of like the Blender's Dog in a way, where it kind of does have the American flavor profile. because they're taking the Jameson and they're aging it in charred and double charred bourbon barrels afterwards. And so it does take on some of the wood spice. It takes on some of the vanilla. And so you're getting a sweeter nose. You're getting a slightly longer finish, which I like. And then it does have a slightly darker color, but I think because I'm more of like I like a longer aged whiskey because I like the wood tannins. I like the bourbon, the barrel spice to whiskeys. This is my replacement for the regular Jameson that I also don't care for because it's really mass produced. And usually when you mass produce a spirit like that, it's just crappy and watered down. And plus Jameson's just not that good. Like I like some Irish whiskeys. Like I'm more of the pot still type guy where I like the cinnamon notes. I like the clove notes rather than the shortbread cookie. And so this takes the shortbread cookie and just sweetens it up a little bit and gives it a little more complexity. And it drinks really good because I'm a huge bourbon and rye fan. And this just it takes the Irish and puts it into America, kind of like me. I'm an Irish American kind of guy. So it really works.
I love that. I mean, that sounds like, I think I'd probably try both of them. I'm drinking an American whiskey. It's just called Rebel. I think we've already done it on this show, but it's really good. And those are my Jen likes it. I will say Jen likes it. So that's like a big plus.
That just means you got to put it on a higher shelf, you know?
No, dude, the couple that drinks whiskey together stays together, man. I'm telling you what.
That is true.
Unless it's Jack Daniels, then that couple just fights each other, beats each other senseless.
They smash the bottle over each other's head.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta say, Nate, if it was Jack, I got $20 on Jen.
Dude, I don't care what it is. Dude, I've got $20 on Jen no matter what. Are you kidding me?
She would probably just I would just take the under on how many minutes it takes to knock her out. So
yeah. Also, Bo, we have a kid. We have step stools all over the place in this house. It doesn't matter how high of a shelf I put it on. She's still going to get it.
That's what I love about my kitchen is I have cupboards that are already tall. And so if there's something that I don't want to share, my wife is only 5'1", and my daughter's way shorter than that. So I just put whatever I want to not share at the very top of those high cupboards. And then even the step stool, they can't reach them. It's great.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Oh, this is what we bring, man. We're funny. We're drinking. Sometimes we're funny. Sometimes we're not as funny.
Rest assured, we think we're funny. Yeah.
Yes. That's all that matters to me.
Well, Jen thinks I'm funny sometimes. It's like 50-50 probably.
She's a ninja.
She is a ninja. It's true. Dude, why do you think I married her? Because she's like amazing. She's so much better than me. Like my coolest
she's a great protector. She protects you.
Yes, she does. She does. It's true. She protects me from that cold, cruel world out there for sure.
She's got you locked in the basement. You're on timeout. We all know. You gotta butter her up via the pod to get back upstairs.
You never asked any questions when she put the deadbolt on the outside of the door?
Why? No, I just figured it was a Jackson thing. Who knows?
Dual purpose.
I hear a screwdriver going upstairs. It sounds like she might be boarding me in now. You guys ruined it for me.
She's brushing her teeth. It's no big deal.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Don't fret, dude. You'll be all right.
I'm sure. Well, at least I'll be on time for all of my shows this week.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Make sure you change your clothes at least. Change your clothes.
I probably won't. If she's not down here, who cares? I have my thieves shirt is on underneath this. So there you go. I got a thieves shirt, I got a polo, and I got a sweet hotbox hat. That's all I need.
If I had a basement, all I would need is a toilet and a microwave, and I'd be fine. I've got a
fridge and a popcorn maker down here.
Yeah. And maybe some food to put in the microwave. I mean, that might be slightly important.
Yeah, that might be. All right, guys, let's get into some golf. We've got a championship, a playoff tournament this week, the BMW Championship. It is in Baltimore County, Maryland, which I'm assuming is close to Baltimore. It's at the Caves Valley Golf Club, which I think it's in Baltimore. The listing on Google says Baltimore County. All right, guys. So that's where I got it. It's at the Caves Valley Golf Club. I keep wanting to call it Cavis Valley.
Apparently, we could call it that. That's fine.
I'm just trying to be fancy.
kind of like,
you know,
kind of like when I kept calling it Sedgwick or whatever when we were talking about the Wyndham.
Sedgefield. All right, guys. So Connor, Bo, tell us about the course.
Yeah, so like Nate said, Caves Valley Golf Club in Maryland, par 72, about 7,550 yards roughly, give or take. It is a no-cut event. We got 69 guys in the field. I would guess that that's going to get well played, sir. I would anticipate that we'll have a few people drop off, but anyways, being a no-cut event, we're looking for, especially for what we do, we're looking for DraftKings scores this week for sure. Bent grass greens, and I believe it's an overseeded rye rough. The main defensive features of the course look to be that we've got a fair amount of water kind of intermingled throughout the course, and then the other thing is if you get too far off track off the tee, you're going to have some fescue to deal with. And I mean, I haven't seen the course. This is a new course, so it's hard to say how much that's going to come into play. But it is noted on a couple of write-ups that I read that that's a main defensive feature of the course. It does sound like length is going to be an advantage. Bomb and gouge, as long as you're not too wayward, is probably going to be the method of play. There are some pretty interesting angles you can take on some of the longer holes, kind of cutting some corners, things like that. So it is risk versus reward. So there again, though, I do think that some accuracy can play well here too. We've got some guys that we like this week that aren't the longest of hitters, but seem to be on some streaks with approach game. So, but definitely keep in mind the second shot in on the par fives and a lot of the par fours. It's going to be pretty lengthy. So it's just something to look at.
Yeah. I'd argue that length is going to be one of the defenses of the course because you do have the overseeded rye rough and some of the fescue if you're really wayward. So some of the shorter to mid hitters might be trying to muscle up to get in some more favorable approach situations, and that's where they can get in trouble. So I really do think that you'll see some of the longer hitters take advantage of their natural length and not have to really try to get it down farther, because it's not going to give them much of an advantage to find new landing spots for their drives. And that's going to be a huge advantage to be able to carry it 300 yards on this course, because the greens are they're large greens, but so if you get close enough, it's actually, there's going to be some crazy low scores put up. But if you're far away, you're going to be looking at 3 putts. So there's a lot to be said where the defense of the course might just be how long it is. 7,500 yards is getting up there where it's one of the longer courses they're going to face all season, and without much in the primary rough to keep those longer hitters from changing the way they approach their round and not having to really make too many shots. I think it's a big advantage to be a longer hitter, because if you don't miss the first cut, you're still not changing your approach shot.
I do. I think the only counterpoint that I would have to that is that long hitter or not, these second shots are still pretty lengthy. Yes. And so while I agree with you, it's going to be a shorter shot for the longer hitters. Some of these guys that are naturally going to take 3 shots to get on the par 5, they're just going to play to their accuracy. And so I think there's room for both. I mean, but I definitely think if you got somebody a la Bryson or, DJ or, even Rory to some extent, if they're in the groove with the driver this week, hitting it straight, it's going to be a huge advantage. But just hard. It's really hard to know what some of these second shots are going to look like. And that's that getting into the stats we looked at. We did look at the strokes gained off the tee. We looked at approach. I looked a little bit at putting on bent. I looked at DK scoring. And then I actually did look at scrambling a little bit too, just from the standpoint that some of these longer approach shots, if you're missing the green, can you get up and down? And to Bo's point, some of these green complexes are a little bit bigger. So we want guys that can knock a chip pretty close and have a good wedge game. So I did look at that a little bit too.
Yeah, my main one was driving distance, and then I wanted to see 3-putt avoidance because some of these guys are going to be 50, 60 feet away from the hole. And if you're like an accurate hitter that's already closer to the pin, then you're going to have that advantage that you spoke of earlier, where you don't necessarily have to be a long hitter. You just have to be able to be close to the pin. And then like your guys like DJ and Bryson, who are just closer to the pin because they're hitting shorter shots in. Those are the guys like that really plays into the strategy that we're like either bomb and gouge or just pinpoint accuracy and good game plan. And you can be close to these holes enough to score, because I think the scoring is going to be pretty darn good.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we're going to see some low numbers for sure. I think we're going to see. I really do think we're going to see a fair amount of eagles. I think we're going to see quite a bit of birdies from some of these longer hitters.
Par 72. I love par 72 because it's going to be exciting. We're going to have 4 par 5s for everybody every round. I love that because for some reason like you get a lot of these par 70s and then some par 71s, and then you don't see the par 72s very often anymore because they're making the par 4s 500 yards and more.
Yeah.
And you're not seeing the standard 4 par 5s that could be between 550 and 600 plus. And you're not seeing as many of the courses do that because they're trying to keep the scoring at a minimum. Well, this is the playoffs. We want to see the best of the best play their best. And that's why there's only been one surprise winner at this course in its history. And that's odds that are 50-1 or worse. And so you're looking at a lot of people that we expect to be at the top are probably going to be at the top by the end of the weekend.
Well, and I mean, dude, as you scroll through the player list here, I mean, there really isn't anybody that's bad. I mean, we're coming down to the wire now, so it's like anybody, baby. Yeah, anybody in this field could go off. I mean, and I think again, it being a new course in the rotation, we don't know, and so I'm kind of play the good plays this week. We can make some guesses, which we're going to do, but play the guys that are playing well right now and roll with it. Hope they keep going.
Well, guys, should we get into those picks that you're talking about? Yep. See what you got. All right. So for the BMW Championship, this is our top tier.
Why is Bryson taking a dump on the course?
It's all them protein shakes, man. That's got to go somewhere.
He needs to do a courtesy flush there.
DJ's just over there laughing at him like, haha.
Oh, man.
He would be.
Yeah, again, no doubt.
Short with the incredible graphics. Thank you, sir. He's also running the the back end of the show.
He's doing what now?
He's running your backside, Bo. He's running
Bryson's backside and help him wipe.
I think next week we gotta have Short come on for like a guest pick. He can just throw an absolute dart. But last tournament of the season, Short's coming on.
We'll see if we can get him to do it.
There's only 30 players next week. So.
Wow.
Yeah, you got good odds, man.
So we're going to talk about all of them on the show then, huh?
Probably.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, sounds right.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into these tier 1 picks.
Yeah, I'll let Bo kick it off. That's those. Whoa. 2 weeks in a row, guys.
Connor's cameras.
Anything can happen when you're live.
Yeah, those cameras get the crazy look in their eyes. They just want to jump. Yeah.
It just wants to be closer to me. That's all.
It's a thrill seeker. So, we're neither one of us, Connor, are big fans of Bryson DeChambeau, but this is the type of course where his game really does fit like a glove because he is bar none the longest hitter on tour. He's not always accurate with it, but he doesn't necessarily need to be on this course. His flaws are kind of covered up by his length on this type of course where, just finding an area of the course on a par 5 where he's hitting a short or to mid iron in, it's a huge advantage for somebody like him where he's going to be able to dial in things to get closer to the holes and make birdies and eagles. And on DraftKings, that's all it's all about is birdie strings and eagles. And ending up at the top of the standings. Like I ended up winning some money last week because I had the top 2 guys, and then I had a couple of guys that finished in the top 20. And so even though I had 2 guys who missed the cut in my lineup, I still made money because you had guys that just went on fire. Like I had Cameron Smith last week who on Saturday shot a 60, and we're going to come to him, but Bryson DeChambeau is the kind of guy on this course that can put together 4 or 5 birdies in a row, and you're looking at the points just rocking up like crazy. You sprinkle in an eagle or two every couple of days from him, and we're going to see some fireworks. And he might not win the tournament, but he's going to score lots of DraftKings points, and that's what I'm looking for, especially when his price is depressed down to 9,300, which is probably the lowest I've seen it in a month or two. Like, he hasn't been playing well in a long time, and they still haven't marked him down until this week. And so I'm looking at this price drop plus the course fitting his game, and I'm thinking it's now or never for Bryson DeChambeau.
Yeah, I'm tracking with you. The only two things that I'll say about Bryson this week is he's projected at 24% ownership, which I'm not in love with. Like, just from the standpoint that there's some pivot plays right in that price range, that low nines that can get you a little bit of leverage right off the jump. So that's just purely a game theory type of thought. But more importantly, the thing that bothers me or worries me a little bit about Bryson is just that short game. I mean,
it's atrocious.
If he's having to scramble, get up and down, like he's one of the guys I wouldn't trust to be able to do it. But if he's, I'm looking at the rest of his stats, man. I mean, his drive, he's killing it with the driver. His approach game has been solid. It's, the thing that's hurting him is like I just said, though, if he does miss the green, he's having a hell of a time with the wedges. So those maybe would be the only two things.
His mental game is atrocious too. Like, you get him to make one bad hole and it ruins his whole tournament. And at the price point, at the ownership, it's kind of a risky play to go kind of chalky there. But I mean, I kind of want to be on the side where the guy comes to play and goes really low because he's really due. He's good enough to do it. And this is the stage. This is the stage because it's not a tough course. It's not a course that's going to challenge him. It's the only thing that's going to challenge Bryson is himself.
Well, and I think, dude, not to get too far down our list of other guys we like, but I like the concept of being able to start a lineup up, like going Bryson, Cam Smith, Daniel Berger, and I've still got a fair amount of money to spend down below. I mean, that's a pretty solid start.
I love that because Cam Smith is a birdie making machine, as we saw last weekend. And I mean, Berger is a wild card. Like, he's either way up or way down. He's another kind of a head case kind of guy where he gets flustered pretty easily, but he can go low any day of the week. You just don't know when it's going to be. And he's another guy like Bryson, where when he's on and he's driving the ball 320 yards, it's gonna raise some eyebrows and it's gonna score some points on DraftKings. So I'm with you on that one. I'm not as high on Berger as I am with Bryson, but the price is right.
I mean, get this, though, with Berger, too, not to jump around too much again, but Berger, so at Northern Trust, he lost 6 strokes putting, dude. 6.
Ooh.
I mean, and he still finished 56th. I mean, to lose that amount of strokes putting, and he was almost 5 strokes gained in almost every other category. I mean, literally the putter killed him, which is atypical for him. He's not a great putter, but I mean, he usually will gain a stroke or two. And so that's the only reason I kind of like Berger is if the rest of his game stays consistent and he just putts his average, I mean, he's going to be in the top 10. And all of his past results really in the last month are showing that. So that's maybe why I'm kind of ready to jump back on Berger is that putter last week was just, that's not typical,
You're right about that. My other top pick that I'm really high on this week is Dustin Johnson. Another guy like Bryson who's more mentally strong, and he's a little bit more refined with the putting game. He's just it's all about, okay, is Dustin in the game or is he not in the game? His game is when he's on, he's the best in the world, bar none. There's nobody better than Dustin Johnson at golf when he's on, and I think that on this stage, DJ is going to have himself a weekend, and I'm putting DJ as my favorite to win the whole thing. Because this course fits him like a glove. He's a left to right golfer. This course is set up more for a straight hitter or a left to right hitter. It's not a drawer's course, which is kind of another knock on Bryson for some reason, because he might try to force a draw into those fairways and the landing spots become smaller. But DJ hitting that left to right fade, that's beautiful for this course. He's going to dominate this course from tee to green. It's just going to be, can he just go super low and win this whole thing. Because I'm saying that DJ is the kind of guy that I don't care if his ownership's over 25% this week. I'm going to be putting him in almost all of my lineups.
How much do you like him at 6.5% projected ownership? Because that's
I wish I could put him in there twice.
yeah, that's where he's tracking at right now.
That's insanity. But that's like the call a couple weeks ago where my favorite was the guy who ended up winning, Colin Morikawa, a few weeks ago, and he was 6% or 7% owned, and I was like, give me a break, just smash that, just like hit that button as hard as you can, because it's a no-brainer from my perspective. It's like you got the perfect golfer on the perfect stage on the perfect course, and the price is, I mean, he's not even close to the most expensive guy. He's at 10,400. Like, you have two guys over 11,000 this week. Give me a break. That's all day, smashing the world number one on that.
Yeah, and one of those guys too that I know you kind of liked with Xander. I'm not there. Like I don't see it this week. I like Xander. I don't. So sell me on Xander a little bit, because I don't see it.
Very strictly, it's the guy you were talking about earlier, who's not the longest hitter, but he's lights out with the putter, and I mean lights out with the putter. And so you get this guy in pressure situations, and he's nails. He's going to make the clutch putts. He's going to make those 15 to 20-foot birdie putts that everybody else is missing. That's the difference for me with Xander. I'm not going to have as much of him because his price is very high, and I'm not so sure that he's going to win this thing. He's not going to have a real shot to win this thing if the other guys go lower than him. But you get him in contention on Sunday, he's going to be right there.
I mean, there's guys I like way better. I mean, so my guys.
11,
yeah. I mean, so the guys that I'm really looking at, I'm back on Morikawa. I like the way everything sets up. The guy's just been playing phenomenal golf. There's really not a whole lot of places you can poke a hole in the game. I'm really high on Rahm. I think Rahm not winning last week has got Rahm fired up.
He is so competitive, and I love it about him. Like, he's past the point where his immaturity would he used to be a lot like Bryson, where he would get so down on anything that went wrong with his round. And now he's really matured. He's become a dad. He's got married. He's like, you can tell he's calmer as a person. And so he's more focused on the end task, which is just to dominate. And he's so good. Yeah, every facet of his game is so solid. I mean, Jon Rahm does not have a weak spot anymore. He doesn't.
And I mean, he's crushing, again, 4 rounds worth of golf this week. He's crushing DraftKings points. I mean, you are guaranteed 4 rounds. He's going to score. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
He's better for the top of the price. He's the very most expensive guy. And so, I mean, that might help us, and that might work in our favor, because a lot of DraftKings players won't spend up on the most expensive guy because they're having trouble filling in those middle tier guys.
Well, and I do think that by plugging Rahm in at 11.7, you are saying, I think Jon Rahm is going to win this golf tournament. I mean, that price is, he has to win. Even with the scoring, he has to win.
You're going to have to do stars and scrubs too, because I'm going to want to plug him in with another guy like DJ, and then just fill in some low dollar guys, some dart throws that we'll get into a little bit later.
For sure. And then the last guy that we should talk about, because I think we're both pretty high on him, is Cam Smith. I think.
Oh. Aussie.
Yeah, and I know you love that mullet. So,
dude, he's Australian with a side of Arkansas. How can you not love the guy?
Dude, you should coin that. That needs to be a hashtag.
And I'm sure he would embrace that, because I mean, the guy he's a great dude. He's out there making friends, having fun, playing the game. He just went out there last week at a really tough course and threw a 60 on the board,
which is insane.
Saturday on a moving day. Like, we were seeing 64, 65 pretty consistently from the top guys. He goes out there and shoots 11 under in a round on moving day. That's insanity. You cannot get better than that on DraftKings. Like, I was looking at my score on the end after Saturday's round going, holy crap, I like this. I mean, like 70 points in one day. I was like, this is great.
I played a showdown and had him had him in a couple of the showdowns, and I'm just like, I wasn't watching golf live that day, and I'm just watching my scores, and I'm like, what is this guy doing?
He's on fire.
On fire. And the crazy thing is I would have thought that type of performance would have boosted him up ownership wise. He's tracking at like sub 10% right now. Like, let's go. Yeah.
That's an auto smash as well.
Yep. And he's number 2 in the field for DraftKings points scored over the last 36 rounds. So
you get to the end of the season like we are. We got 69 golfers. Really, we got to put more of a premium on how are they playing right now.
And he's tracking. I mean, he's good. He's ready.
He's better than anybody else in the world right now.
I love him.
Finau won that tournament, but Cam Smith put together 4 better rounds.
Which, and cheers to Finau. I mean, I was starting to wonder if that was ever going to happen. So.
Oh, and I was wondering who called that last week. I mean, it was wild to see that I had Finau and Cam Smith in the same build, and even Morikawa, my favorite guy. Like Morikawa was like he missed the cut because he had a bad first round, and if he would have made the cut, I would have been like sitting like way up high, making real money. But yeah, I'll take my miscut from Morikawa and throw that away because I think Morikawa's back this week, just like you do. But yeah, give me the victory lap for the 1-2 finish on my build with Finau and Smith. I was pretty pleased.
Yeah, no, you were fire last week. That was awesome. Hey, and before we move to the next tier, I'm not playing Rory this week.
What?
So he's in the tournament, right?
He is in the tournament. Yeah, so plug him in. He'll win.
Dude, Connor's got wedding brain.
Well, you gave him the kiss of death now because by you not playing him now means he's going to win.
Absolutely. Yeah. So everybody listening to this, play him because I'm not.
I'm going to play my first DFS golf lineup this week, and I'm playing Rory.
Connor is the kiss of death.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Because Rory let us down last week. He was meh.
Yeah.
He's going to pop, I'm telling you, but not this week. So
right,
moving to tier 2.
Yeah, let's move into tier 2, mid-tier, whatever the graphic says it is, which is mid-tier. Beautiful graphic.
Love it. Ooh, look at that Mexican guy. I like that guy. Abraham Ansed.
So, Bo, why don't you give us, since you already started talking about him, let's see your mid-tier. Hear your mid-tier. I guess not. We already saw it, but
yeah, I was finding that my builds, the pricing from this guy Abraham Answer down on through my value picks. A lot of Latino golfers from Central, South America, Latin America. And I'm here for it because they're all long hitters. They're all bombers. They can get the ball close. They have streaky putters. They can get hot and win tournaments and win DraftKings points. I want the guys that are going to go low. They're going to put birdies together. Abraham Answer fits this course like a glove. Again, 8,700 this week. That's easy money. Easy money. This guy is easily worth 9,500 plus this week. The way he's been playing this lately. Long hitter of the golf ball, great ball striker, and his putter for this type of bent grass, like his scoring average on bent grass is really, really good. I'm all in on Abraham Answer this week because his price is just too low for how well he's playing.
No argument for me. I love Answer this week too. I think he's an accurate player. I think he's a consistently accurate player, which is important too. And again, the surfaces I think play to his advantage, and yeah, the price. I think I'm with you. I think he should be definitely 9,200 or higher. So
this is one of those little miscues. I think that DraftKings, because the last tournament was delayed through Monday, they had to come out with pricing really fast, and I don't think it reflected a couple weeks prior. Like they probably already had it set, and they were just waiting for the moment for the one tournament to unlock so that they could put out the next pricing, and they didn't really adjust anything. So there's some little nitpicky price adjustments that work in our favor, and Abraham Answer is definitely one of them, where he's not priced according to how he's playing because DraftKings simply didn't have time to tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm with you. And the ownership is looking like people are kind of off of him, like big time. I mean, it's early enough in the week, so maybe that changes. But I mean, we got a lot of good plays and low ownership.
Are there thousands of people watching this? Like there should be. Then maybe you're right.
The best information on the internet, right here.
And we are batting 1,000, by the way. So it's not like you're losing money listening to this. You might be losing brain cells, but you're going to win money.
Yeah, that's actually true. We've been doing all right. Going from answer, the next guy that I like is I really like Harris English.
English. He's American. His name screams British, like Harris English. Nice to meet you. But yeah, he's an American with a British name. So yeah, I like him too, just because his name's really cool.
That's how we're doing this now.
Yeah, break it down, Kyle.
So the dude can ball out though, and over the last 36 rounds, he's number 3 in the field for DraftKings points. So when I'm guaranteed 4 rounds, like I said, I'm really focused on guys that are going to score. Harris English is that dude that will go on streaks. Like he may double bogey a hole or two. That might happen, but he's going to turn around and run you a birdie streak for points. So I like where he sets up. Decent at all aspects of the game right now. In particular, like overall, like his shot gain metric for the overall, he's number 6 in the field. I mean, the guy's just picking up strokes left, right, and crooked. So at $8,400, I mean, this goes back to my initial idea with the 3-9K guys. You can actually plug Harris in as your 4th and then get a couple of values down below. I mean, you can really have a solid 4-man group before you even touch 7,000. So
exactly. And I think we agree on our other. You have one guy in tier 2 that I'm not huge on, Sam Burns, but you can say your piece on Burns, but we do agree on Paul Casey. His game is his game's so polished. I mean, he's another guy that doesn't really have any weak spots, and in a course like this, you want a guy who's been there before, and Paul Casey's definitely been there before. He's playing really well lately, and again, it's another pricing miss on Paul Casey being down at 8,200. That we're both on Paul Casey this week, and I'm a huge fan of a real British guy with a pretty normal name. He's got 2 first names, Paul Casey. I mean, come on, who is a kid for 2 first names? But he's really good at golf, and he rises to the occasion. In the big tournaments, he's always at the top. You never go to a big tournament and see Paul Casey miss the cut, and then there's no cut this week, so he's going to be at the top of the leaderboard. And it might not be the biggest DraftKings score, but just placing him in the top 20 pretty much as a lock means that he's going to score a good amount of points.
Yeah, and I think the price on him is the thing that drew me to him. Like I'm not usually a big Paul Casey fan. When he starts getting in the high 8s, low 9s, like I kind of avoid him because a lot of times there's better plays at the price point. But this week, I mean, at $8,200, I can't make an argument, against playing him at that price. I mean, he's going to perform.
What's his world golf ranking? I think he's still top 10 in the whole world as a golfer. So
I should really have looked at that today, but
give me that guy. That's the guy that's like never really drops too far out of the running for anything. He's always up there in the world golf rankings. He never really plays poorly. You don't see him fall back into the field like a lot of these guys do, like flash in the pans. Like a couple of years ago, you had Ricky Fowler that was making his way up, and then he fell off. And then you have there's all kinds of golfers that'll rise really fast, and then they'll hit a snag, and they'll fall back down into basically mediocrity. But Paul Casey's been doing this for a decade. He's just always up there, and at 8,200, it's easy.
I'm with you. I'm definitely with you. You want to bop down into tier 3?
Let's do it.
You don't have a take on Sam Burns real quick?
So my sole take on Sam Burns. I want to
argue with you. I got my beef stew. I'm ready to argue. I got beef.
I'll let you swallow first. So Sam Burns is more of a form play. Okay, so I'm looking over the last 10 starts. He's got a 1st, a 2nd, a 13th, a 2nd, and most recently a 21st. The other thing that I'm really looking at is over the last 10 rounds, he hasn't lost strokes in any metric. And the guy can hit a driver pretty well. So I kind of like him as somebody who's been performing well, who's been very popular. And this week I'm thinking at the price, we may get a little bit of break on ownership. And we do. I mean, he's coming in sub 13% right now. So just in that sea of the lower 8,000 range where we've got some pretty chalky plays, Paul Casey, Harris English, where you're above 17%. It's just a little bit of a leverage option for you. And 8,300 for Sam Burns, again, is a guy that's going to score points. It may not be pretty, and his finishing position may not be great, but he, again, last 36 rounds, he's number 8 in the field in DK points scored. So the guy scores points.
But what has he done?
Is making down there.
What has he done in the big stage? Nothing. He's basically faded from every big stage he's been on. Even if he starts off hot, you don't see him on Sundays pushing for a title, pushing for a trophy, pushing for a big check. He's not a finisher. And I think
he won the Valspar. He won the Byron Nelson. He was second at the WG St. Jude, and this is in his last 10 rounds.
Yeah,
he's there on Sunday.
Those aren't playoffs. Those aren't majors. Those aren't like I give him the Valspar. That was a great win. But the rest of them, it's like, come on, the St. Jude, that's not even a full field event. Give me a break on that one. But we're talking about a guy who I don't trust because he's not going to be in contention to win the thing. And at the 8,300 price point, I need that guy to have a shot of winning this whole thing. And I think that even if you say, okay, I like the guy, I like the way he's going to score points with birdies and possibly eagles because he's a great driver of the golf ball. I don't like him because he's appropriately priced and there's edges elsewhere. Like the ownership is okay, and he's priced where he should be. He should be around 8,000, 8,500, and he's right where he should be. So I'm not finding an edge there.
No, and I'll agree with you 100% on the pricing. He is priced appropriately for sure. But if it were a cut event, I would be a little more apprehensive. Like if you guarantee me 4 rounds with Sam Burns, I do think he'll score some points for you. Is my main stance.
If there's a cut, he's probably missing it in a big stage.
If there's a cut, I'm not playing Sam Burns at $8,300 when I can play Paul Casey. Like,
exactly, because 2 rounds of Sam Burns or 4 rounds of Paul Casey.
Exactly. So I'm with you. I'm with you.
I just don't see the edge there.
All right, guys. So you guys disagree. We had our first lovers quarrel here.
First of many to come. We have a
of course. Let's get that out. Let's get that out of the way here. All right, so let's go on to our value picks, tier 3, if you will.
Yeah, so I'll kind of rattle off tier 3 a little quickly because I personally don't think you've got to go this low. I just really don't. I mean, as we've gone through this, there is a lot of ways to build in the 9s and the high 7s and have a really solid lineup. But if you're going to get down sub 7,000, I do like Charlie Hoffman. I've liked Charlie Hoffman off and on. Now, hear me out. I like Charlie Hoffman, especially in a no-cut event. And if you look at what he did last week, he had a couple of really good rounds. His started off pretty shaky, but he came back into form. And if you look at the streaks he's been on throughout the whole season, Charlie Hoffman is arguably having one of the best seasons he's had in God knows how long. So at $7,000, if you are getting down here, like I think you can do a lot worse than Hoffman.
Not much worse. Not much worse.
All right. I like
look, just look. This is Baltimore County, right? When Charlie Hoffman goes to the Eastern Seaboard, his stroke average is like 5 higher than when he's on the West Coast because he's from LA. He's from Southern California. And you put this guy on the East Coast, and he just falls apart. It's sad. Like, I don't know what gets into Charlie Hoffman because on the West Coast swing and when there's majors at Torrey Pines where he's a member or when there's Pebble Beach or all these West Coast events, he's pretty good. Like, even in Texas, he's pretty good. You get him in Florida on bent grass or Bermuda, or you get him on the East Coast bent grass. This guy can't putt. This guy he gets in his head so easily. Like, I know the price is right. 7,000 is a great dart throw or value for what he is. But that, like, again, this is a 4-round guarantee lottery pick, basically, because I'm saying there's a 20% chance he is anything good at all. and an 80% chance he just implodes because that's what he does on the East Coast.
Okay, so question for you though, and then I won't stay hung up on this too long. But
okay.
So Abe Answer, as far as DraftKings is concerned,
yeah,
where do you think he falls, like in the field? Like what position do you think he falls for points scored?
Finishing wise?
Yeah, like so DraftKings overall, he's number 1 in the field, number 2 in the field, what do you think he is?
7 or 8.
So he's number 15. You know what Charlie Hoffman is? Number 14. And he cost $1,700 less. He's going to score more points. He's guaranteed 4 rounds. So if we love Answer for his scoring prowess, we can't not like Hoffman.
I love Answer because he fits the course way better than what's his bucket Blondie over there.
We'll see. So my next dude, one of Nate's favorite guys to talk about is Mav Mcnealy. I
just love the name.
I usually just throw it in strictly because you love the name.
So this is a I love the name pick for you then.
Yeah, that's part of it. But I also do like Mav when it comes to proximity on approach shots. So and the kid's a pretty decent driver of the golf ball. So I think when you guarantee me Mav 4 rounds, I get a lot more excited about him because I do think he's going to have a round or two where he goes low. He's gonna definitely outscore his finishing position, guaranteed. I mean, he'll probably be 45th in the field, but he'll be number 20 in the field for DraftKings points. So I do really think there's some value at 7,000 for what Mav can do. Now he could play awful. I mean, that's Mav Mcnealy for you, but I don't hate it. And then my next dude is Cam Davis. I know I've brought Cam up before, but the same reason somebody would love Bryson, you gotta love Cam Davis. The guy bombs the golf ball, and so if we're gonna play bomb and gouge, $6,900, guaranteed 4 rounds, Cam Davis is gonna pop off at least 1 round. I can guarantee you that. And this is a guy that's won in recent history too, so you can't hate him at that price point. I think that's a misprice, to be honest. When you guarantee 4 rounds, I think he should be mid 7s. He certainly should be higher than McNealy and Hoffman.
Right, and of your value picks, I like him better than the other two, and I would still take McNealy over Hoffman this week because he's a better golfer. I just don't like Charlie Hoffman on the East Coast. He doesn't show up to play, and I'm not going to risk, like, even at 7,000. It's like you have other guys that are better suited for this course and this stage than Charlie Hoffman. So give me Mav slightly over Hoffman at the same price, but give me Cam way over those two at a lower price. That's an easy pickings. But
he's my favorite play down there.
I'm going even cheaper with my dart throws or my value picks. Sebastian Munoz from Colombia. Like I said, I'm going Latin America because these guys bomb the golf ball and they can get hot with the putter. They're savvy players around the greens, and they fit this course. And if you want birdies, you want eagles, you have to get the guys that are just going to be, hey, if I found the fairway, I'm hitting a wedge into the long par 4. I'm hitting a 7-iron into a par 5. Give me all the eagles. Give me all the easy birdies. So give me Munoz. He's at 6,700. That's so good. That's juicy because the guy just absolutely annihilates the golf ball, and he's on fire right now. He's playing super well. And then Phil Mickelson. This is his type of course. I mean, we haven't seen much of anything good from Phil lately, but leave it to the old lefty to be a gambler like he always is and show up to play when the chips are down. And it's his type of course where it's like he doesn't have to find fairways too often. He's going to be all over the place with the driver.
And Phil, regardless of any of the stats or any of that stuff, one thing that I think Phil might have going for him this week is Phil, I think, probably wants to play on the Ryder Cup team, and Phil needs to do just a little bit more. Like, understanding he won a major, get that, but he's done pretty much jack shit else. Exactly. And this is probably his last chance of playing on the Ryder Cup team. So I think Phil's got motivation.
He's either going to die. He's either going to get in the top 30 and make it to East Lake, or he's going to die trying. And an aggressive Phil that's not really trying to confine himself and to play conservatively for any reason. It's a dangerous Phil because he can go low with the best of them. He's been doing it for 30 years. It's something I'm really anxious to see whether Phil goes low or dies trying. It's not going to be anything in between. But four rounds of Phil is pretty nasty at the $6,300 price. If I'm going stars and scrubs and I'm getting a couple guys over 10.5, I'm going to be plugging Phil in.
For sure. Yeah, you can do a hell of a lot worse, especially down there.
I love it. Phil Mickelson's my favorite golfer, so I'm never going to argue about Phil Mickelson. Put him in there.
He's a nice guy too. He's a hell of a guy.
He's a cool dude.
Phil, if you're watching, we will do wine tasting on this show with you.
Yeah, come on.
You just have to come on. We're fun guys. Have you not enjoyed our banter thus far? Come on, man.
I'm rooting for you. I'm a left-handed golfer.
I changed my putting style to mirror his, and I probably shaved 5 to 6 strokes off my game when I did it.
That's not where I thought you were going with that sentence, but I'm glad you finished it.
All right.
It's a family show, Bo. Yeah, let's hit that. No, you're right. It's absolutely not. Let's hit those dart throws.
All right, let's get down there.
Yeah, why does he look so angry?
Because it's Pat Gazire.
I thought he'd be more enthused that I'm rooting for him this week.
Dude, he's got a cool name, though. I mean, Patton, I don't know why I like that name as a first name. I just do. This is how I make my DFS picks. I'm like, oh, I like your name. Listen to these guys.
You'd be a hoot at the NCAA March Madness bracket.
Dude, okay. So little
Jersey
sidebar here.
He's the best mascot.
I went off of
I'll take the Terrapins.
Mascot names. Yes, I went off mascot names the first time I ever did a bracket. I was like 6.
And I don't know that was you.
Of course. I learned later in life, but I did really well. I think I finished like 2nd or 3rd in my dad's office pool. So anyway, we're not talking about basketball. Let's get back to some golf here. We have got.
I was trying to put away my beer, and
we are a professional show full of professionals.
You made me spill whiskey on my chin.
No.
Hey, you save that for later. There it is.
All right, guys, let's get into these dart throws. Bo, why don't you start us off, man? Actually, you know what, Connor? Why don't you start us off? Because Bo, you started every other time.
I got you. I'll go.
I'm gonna throw this one to Connor. Nothing personal, Bo. I promise. It's his wedding week. We got to give him a win here.
So I really don't have a whole lot of reason behind either of these. But Emiliano Griot is one that I think, given a no-cut event, can actually score pretty well for you. He's actually got a really, really solid tee to green game. He's got a great approach game. He is he is the worst in the field at putting and around the green. Like scrambling, he's horrible. So if he misses the green, he's toast. But anyways, again, having larger green complexes, I really do think he's probably alive to at least score well for you. He's 18th in the field for DK points over the last 36 rounds. As bad as he is at putting and around the green, he somehow manages to score. So that should give you an idea how close his approach shots are. And again, $6,500 just gives you another option. There's some other guys down there that are going to garner some ownership. Griot is probably a guy that will have some, but probably not as high as the rest. And then my other guy down in that range is Max Homa. Max Homa. Yeah. Yep. 6,400. So I just like Homa. I like Homa as I guess an accuracy player, a consistent player most of the time. He's had some good streaks this year. $6,400. This is a guy that mid-season was going, mid to high 8s in some of these tournaments. So I really do feel like he's a misprice. I don't necessarily know if he's going to come out and like be in the top 10, top 20 even, but good value. Yeah, he's a really good value play. He's a good golfer. I mean, bottom line, Max Homa's a good golfer, and he can turn it on and actually compete any week out of the year. So I don't hate that price point on him, as it really is gives you, again, a good option down at the bottom if you want to stack up top.
He also has the best fan club, the homosexuals. Like, I'm not kidding you. There's a very small fan club for Max Homa, and they are a rowdy bunch. So it's easy to root for a guy, especially down at that price point. And again, if I'm going John Rahm and DJ, I'm going to have to plug in one or even two of these sub-7 guys to fit it under the salary cap. So I'm all for that. I'm all for that play. At that price point down the dart throws, Patton Kizzires, he's one of my dart throws. I'm less convinced on him because he's just super cheap and he's a better golfer than his price is. I think he's a slight misprice. He should be around 68 to 7. So, I mean, if I'm looking at bottom of the barrel for one of those stars and scrubs builds, I'm going to throw somebody like him in there. But I'm more sold on my other dart throw, Carlos Ortiz, another bomber, mispriced like crazy. He's playing really well this year. I just like Carlos Ortiz. He's playing really well this year. He's under the radar. He's probably not any ownership at all. And I like a guy like that. I mean, shoot, he's 6,600. And so if I have him and Keziah or him and Phil along with John, Rahm, and DJ, I'm feeling really good about birdie streaks. I'm feeling really good about, regardless of standings, getting DraftKings points coming out my ears.
Yeah, and Ortiz, to your point, he's only coming in at 4.5% owned. Your boy Phil is coming in at 1.9. So, wow. So your dart throws are giving you some good leverage. And I'm with you. Like, Carlos Ortiz is somebody that can absolutely pop off and score for you. And stacking that top range might be a differentiator, just because I think people are going to look at those sticker price or sticker shock on some of those prices and want to do exactly what I said: go into the 9s, build 3-4 guys in the 9s, dip down low 7s. So if you're getting down into the 6s, I think it gives you some really good leverage on the field. So,
all right, guys, that wraps up our dart throws. We've got one more pick. As this is a drinking show, we call it the last call because we drink the whole time.
Yeah, and I completely disagree with it. So I'm glad it's the last call and not one of his main calls, because this is ridiculous. If there was even in a no-cut event, I think this guy might just withdraw because he's embarrassed himself.
Oh my God.
So my boy Sergio Garcia.
Dude, I have not heard that name. I was really avidly paying attention to golf the last time I felt like he was relevant, and that's had to be
time he was any good.
Whew.
All
remember
right,
when he was going to I'm sorry, but do you remember when he was going to battle Tiger for best golfer in the world? Everybody thought it was Sergio and Tiger. That's about what I remember. So anyway, I'm sorry. Continue. Carry on.
So I'm with you. He's an embarrassment. But but here's a couple of things that I was looking at with Sergio. His tee to green game is actually coming around. His ball striking has been fantastic. His approach game actually has been really precise lately. His putting is pretty much god awful. Yeah. He puts with his eyes closed, which is a bold strategy.
It doesn't work with his eyes open, so I mean, what else is he gonna try?
So what's the harm?
So here's why he's the last call. Like, nearing the end of the season, if Sergio doesn't pan out, at least I can tuck him away on that island that we talk about and not worry about Sergio for a very long time. And but Sergio is a world-class golfer, and really getting back to the point, like, Sergio can play well, and it's not that far in the past that he did play well. So if you're looking for something that's a little off the beaten path, I think Sergio Garcia is a good guy to throw maybe a dart at and just see what he does for you. Because you're not often you're going to get Sergio competitive in a field where you're not going to have to worry about him making the cut. You don't have to worry about it. So
I'm honestly shocked that he's even in this field because he sucks so bad, and he's already overpriced. Like, how he's in this tournament would shock the hell out of me, and then they overprice him. So like I hate Sergio this week. I hate him. He's too like if he was down at Phil 6,300, I might think about it. But 76, are you kidding me? That is insane.
Yeah, but I also kind of love that because he's going to carry about less than 5% ownership, which he should. I mean, he should. It definitely is a gamble. But if Sergio does show up, I've just boxed out 100,000 people in a GPP by playing him. So I mean, if you're mass entering, throw $5 at a lineup and put Sergio in instead of Alexander Noren, Keegan Bradley, Jason Kokrak.
Obviously, but come on.
Well, yeah, but those are the guys. Those are the guys in the price range, right? So, like, is Sergio any worse than Keegan Bradley? I don't think so.
No, but they both suck. So it's like there's another guy who was great for a long time and then just like disappeared. Like, what happened to Keegan Bradley? That's a mystery. Like, he's not that old. He's 40 years old. He just sucks now. So
yeah, and he's projected to be double the ownership of Sergio, double the ownership on Keegan Bradley. Like, come on, really?
That's terrible.
Like, so that's
for you.
Yeah. So we'll tuck Sergio away if he chokes this week, but it's an option.
We'll see how it goes. Well, everybody, I want to say thank you for tuning in to this edition of the 19th Hole. I hope you had fun with our shenanigans. Cheers to everybody out there.
Shenanigans.
And we will see you next week for the East Lake and more drinking and more fun. Until then, cheers.
Cheers, boys. You don't like my Sergio Garcia take?
Well,